Legoland New York just opened in late May of 2021 as the ninth and newest Legoland theme park. It's rare to see new parks open nowadays, especially in the Northeast. Legoland New York was the first new amusement park to open in the Northeast in almost 4 decades. This park's opening was delayed a year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but now it's open for families and children to enjoy. In this review, I plan to provide an overview of what Legoland New York has to offer in terms of rides, entertainment, shops, and food, touching on what the park does well and what they can improve upon. And spoiler alert, I think this now may be the best children's park in the Northeast. The Legoland chain is owned by Merlin, an English-based entertainment company. Their portfolio includes aquariums, wax museums, and for the sake of this review, theme parks. Merlin now owns 14 amusement parks worldwide, 9 of which are Legolands, and they also have several more Legolands underway. It's arguably their most successful and profitable brand. Legoland New York is the third Legoland park in the United States. The first was Legoland California in 1999, and the second was Legoland Florida in 2012, which was actually a transformation of the old Cypress Gardens amusement park. Before Legoland New York opened, the only way to get a taste of Legoland in the Northeast without hopping aboard a plane was to visit one of the many Legoland Discovery Centers, which were small family entertainment centers with a few rides and exhibits. These Discovery Centers are great for a few hours of fun, but the Legoland parks are full-fledged resorts with enough to keep kids busy for an entire day, if not longer. And if you're a fan of themed experiences, adults can enjoy themselves as well here. Legoland New York soft opened in May of 2021 after several years of development and construction. The project faced much opposition from local residents. Goshen, New York is a quiet, semi-rural town, and many residents felt that this theme park was out of character for their town. Residents also expressed concern the park would have increased traffic and cause environmental damage. However, Legoland worked through these issues because Goshen was an ideal location for them. It was roughly 70 miles from New York City and also accessible to most residents in New England and the Mid-Atlantic states. This park could pull from a huge population base. The park was originally supposed to open on the 4th of July weekend of 2020, but the park was delayed nearly a year due to COVID-19. When the park finally opened in May of 2021, not every area was open. But as of my visit in mid-July of 2021, every single one of the park's 7 themed areas was open. I've had the opportunity to visit 4 of the other Legolands as well. I've visited the 2 other American locations, plus Legoland Japan and Legoland Dubai. So I was really interested to see how the newest Legoland compared. And I honestly think it's the best of the Legoland parks that I've visited. This park has the chain's best dark rides, and the same great atmosphere I've come to expect from Legoland. The park looks like something out of a kid's dream. The unique and colorful architecture gives the park a distinct feel. The way the park integrates the Lego bricks into the buildings is seamless. And you also have countless figures along the midways as you make your way through the park. Some of these are interactive too. Every few feet, there's surely something worthy of a photo. And you could say that everything looks awesome. The rides have a similar appearance. Ride vehicles look like they were constructed of Legos. Take the trains and the Dragon roller coaster for example. Integrating Legos into the appearance of all aspects of the park give the resort a cohesive feel. It's similar to what you find at the other Legoland parks in that regard. The park staff is also super friendly. It can sometimes take a park a few years to build a welcome atmosphere like this, but Legoland New York seems to have nailed this from day one, and this is a critical part of a family park in my opinion. It not only makes the experience more magical for kids, but it can help prevent any frustrations that can lead to meltdowns. However, there is one major Achilles heel with this park currently: the lack of shade. There is no sugarcoating this. Legoland New York can be miserable on a hot day if you're not prepared. There is zero shade anywhere in the Midway. You are destined to be baked under the sun, so make sure to bring plenty of sunscreen. Fortunately, the park does have a lot of indoor attractions with refreshing air conditioning to help cool you down. and the park does realize the lack of shade is an issue, as they have planted quite a few trees. They just need time to grow in. The lack of shade is exacerbated by the fact that the park is 150 acres in size and located on a giant hillside, so it can be absolutely grueling to get around this park on a hot, humid summer day. There is no train or skyride to help you get around. If you want to see every section of this park, you're going to have to hike up and down this hill. Make sure to stay hydrated. But that can be costly if you're not careful. All of the water fountains are currently disabled due to COVID, and unlike 99% of US parks that offer free water at food stands, Legoland New York does not do this. In fact, you can't even purchase a single fountain drink. The only way to get any drinks at this park from a fountain is to buy the $18 souvenir cup. You can purchase individual bottles of soda and water at select stands, but that can pile up quickly. The best way to stay hydrated is to bring in water, which the park does allow you to bring in, or bring an empty non-metal water bottle. While the water fountains are turned off, the bottle refilling stations are active and scattered throughout the park. Saving money on drinks is wise because the park as a whole is a pricey one to visit. Day tickets currently cost $70 for kids and $80 for adults without any discounts. So keep an eye out for discounts, as the chain sometimes does promotions where kids can visit for free with a paid adult. And if you plan to visit multiple times or multiple different Legolands in the same year, I'd strongly consider purchasing a season pass. That's especially true because it includes parking. When I approached Legoland, I figured I'd have to pay for parking like most chain parks, but I was astounded there was no toll booth when I arrived. I just drove straight into the parking lot. Was parking actually free? No. Most parks in Europe have a system where you buy a parking ticket at the admission booth and then you have to show it on the way out. This is exactly what Legoland New York did, which makes sense given Merlin's European roots. I strongly recommend buying your parking in advance online because you save a few dollars. In person, parking costs roughly $27 with taxes and fees. I visited on a hot summer Friday. Despite the healthy crowds in the midways, the ride lines weren't too bad. Not at all. If you arrived right at opening, everything was a walk-on. By the mid-afternoon, the larger rides had just 15 to 20 minute waits from what I saw. I suspect the park's attendance will pick up as more people realize Legoland New York has finally opened. My recommended plan for touring the park is to arrive at opening and go clockwise. You should hit the Lego Factory Adventure and the Ninjago Dark rides first, and then the 2 roller coasters. You should be able to walk onto all of those rides. You should then be able to get to the lower capacity Lego City rides before they have built up significant waits. With this plan, the only ride you're probably going to have to wait in line for is Rogue Riders. If long lines are a major issue during your visit, the park does offer a paid skip the line system known as the Reserve and Ride. I have never used this at a Legoland park, since I can avoid the majority of the lines by arriving at opening. At some of the other Legoland parks, I noticed that the queue lines had play areas for the kids while the adults held their spots in line. But these were not present at the New York location, and I don't think this was related to the pandemic either, because I just didn't notice a spot for them. In general, the rides are all family friendly. They're designed such that they can accommodate small children and adults comfortably. Being able to experience a ride together is a really important aspect of a family park in my opinion. Just note the park doesn't really have any major thrill rides. At this point, I'm going to break down the park's offerings land by land, starting with the park's main street, which is known as Brick Street. This is the smallest area of the park, but it features the park's largest gift shop, the appropriately named Big Shop. This store has Lego models galore, including several exclusive to the theme parks. A lot of the major rides also dump you out into gift shops, so there are plenty of ways to spend more money in the park. The lone ride in Brick Street is a unique Lego-themed carousel known as Brick Party. Moving clockwise through the park, you then come to Bricktopia. This land is the park's signature attraction, the Lego Factory Adventure. This is a trackless dark ride exclusive to the New York park. The ride's story is that guests are shrunken down to the size of a Lego figure and then get a playfully educational tour of how Lego bricks are made and later enjoyed. The indoor queue line had a lot to look at, and I honestly didn't mind getting stuck in a bit of a line on my final ride to take in all the details. The ride itself utilizes the trackless technology to perfection. Cars are dispatched in groups of 3, and they dance around the rooms. I absolutely love how the first room blended physical sets and projection mapping. The subsequent rooms are a lot more reliant on screens, but they were cleverly integrated. Now, there were 2 slight criticisms I had. 1, the ride did feel a bit short, and 2, I thought the screen in the second room was out of focus at points. But the attraction is still visually stunning, and this was easily my favorite ride in the park. Just one note, on my visit this ride opened late, and I know a friend who went there who also saw that it opened late, so this might be a trend. If you see this ride running, I'd get on it just in case it has some issues, because the trackless ride technology is pretty complex. The land also features a small train ride known as the Duplo Express, a dizzying teacup ride known as DJ's Dizzy Disco Spin, and an indoor hands-on exhibit known as Build and Test. The latter was a big hit amongst creative kids. The next area is Lego Ninjago World, which features the best ride at the California and Florida parks, Ninjago the Ride. This is a unique take on the interactive shooting dark ride. Guests use their hands to fire projectiles at 3D targets. The ride's visuals are cartoony and it can be a bit tiring, but the ride system is downright cool. It feels like you have superpowers, and this one also seemed to be more forgiving than the prior iterations when it comes to aiming. The other ride in the Ninjago area was a small Himalaya known as Jay's Gravity Force Trainer. The next area is accessed by walking down a long windy path down the hillside. You then reach Lego Castle, which features 2 flat rides and the park's only 2 roller coasters. Dragon is the park's largest roller coaster. Dragon starts off as a dark ride through a medieval town and past an imposing dragon. When you emerge outdoors, you are treated to a really nice family coaster. Unlike the Vekoma models at the California and Florida parks, the New York Dragon is a Zero creation, specifically a Force 5 model. This one is a bit wilder. It doesn't have crazy heights, but some of the turns and helixes on this ride pull some pretty good positive Gs. Add in the fact that this ride is glass smooth, and you have a coaster that's sure to be a crowd pleaser. I have a separate review going into more detail, but this is a strong family coaster. Dragon's Apprentice is the Zamperla Kiddie coaster next door, which is the perfect starter coaster with its modest heights and speed. Then the 2 flats really make the guests work. Merlin's Flying Machines is a pedal-powered roundabout, and Tower Climb Tournament is a small drop tower where riders manually pull themselves to the top of the ride. You then come to Lego City, which has some of the lower capacity rides in the park. Kids will love the Coast Guard Academy and Driving Academy rides. The former lets kids captain a boat, while the latter allows kids to earn their driver's license and drive around a small neighborhood. I would have loved these rides as a kid because they are more creative than your standard antique cars ride. The coolest ride in this section is undoubtedly the Fire Academy. This is a Legoland staple where teams board a fire engine, power their vehicle, and extinguish a fire. It is a really neat ride where teams need to work together, and it's also a race to see who can finish first. One of the best ways to escape the heat in the park is Palace 4D Cinema. While I personally skipped this on my visit, I heard it was a really refreshing film, between the air conditioning and a ton of water effects. The final area with rides is Lego Pirates. This area has aquatic focus. Anchors Away is a small rock and tug that'll keep you dry, but the other 2 rides are likely going to get you wet, if not soaked. Splash Battle is a boat ride where riders and spectators are given water guns. And if I've learned anything over the years, if you give a kid a water gun, you are going to get soaked. They are relentless. Rogue Riders is a relatively rare water whip type ride where you pilot a boat over the water. This ride gives a little bit of laterals as you skim outwards over the water, but this one has a high potential to soak you if guests nearby trigger water bombs. And because most people visiting this park are kids, they will not be able to resist hitting that big red button and seeing that geyser go off. The final section of the park has no rides, but that doesn't make it any less impressive. And of course, I'm talking about Miniland, a Legoland staple. This land has some of the most impressive Lego models you can find anywhere. Designed all by master builders, you get a neat tour of the United States. Extra focus is placed on the New York area, both the city itself and Goshen, but all the models are breathtaking. And some have interactive or motorized bits. My favorite was the Coney Island section, and I found it funny the rides that Legoland chose to feature in the Brooklyn Flyer Star Flyer and the Zenobia Skyscraper ride over something like the iconic Cyclone. I already touched on the drink situation, but as for food, I didn't actually get any at Legoland New York, but the offerings did look very similar to the other Legoland parks where I have gotten food. I would recommend the apple fries. Now I personally find them too sweet for my liking, but everyone else seems to love them. And then my favorite place to eat at the Legoland parks is the pizza and pasta buffet. The food is pretty good and I can stuff my face. Last but not least, the park is opening a hotel next month adjacent to the main entrance. Based on the other LEGO hotels, this property will probably cost more than the other hotels nearby, but it does offer some nice theming and it's very convenient for those who want the full resort experience. So do I recommend Legoland New York? If you're in the Northeast and have kids, absolutely. This is probably the best children's park in the area now, and it's my favorite of the American Legoland parks, by a slim margin over California. The way the park blends theming, interactive exhibits, and family-friendly rides is incredible. Many of the rides are child-friendly, while also being able to comfortably fit adults. And several are just as fun for adults too. I absolutely love the dark rides, and Dragon Coaster is a pretty cool coaster. The biggest issue with this park currently is the lack of shade, so make sure you come prepared with a plan to stay cool. And I think this is something that will improve over time as the park adds more shade structures and the trees grow in. Now if you only care about thrill rides and coaster credits, you're probably going to be disappointed with Legoland. Kids and those who love themed experiences though are really going to like this park. So those are my thoughts on the newly opened Legoland New York. What are your thoughts on this park? How do you think it compares to the other Legoland parks? I would love to hear your thoughts about this park down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.